Welcome to Stir Up Your Purpose channel. Thanks for stopping by. Today, I am sharing another Herb Fitch classic from the 1972 Realization of Oneness seminar titled Perfect Faith in a Perfect God. What can I say? I find this talk very illuminating and inspiring. As I listen to the talk, one statement that struck me goes like this: the substance of illusion is the same, whether it appears as a cold, a headache, a cancer, tuberculosis, a broken bone, poverty, or unemployment. It is always nothing less. The harm of flesh, appearance, and behind it is the activity of a universal mark practice or hypnotism produced by the universal belief in two powers. This sheds light on the persistent suggestion of the world mind that attempts to cause one to view things from the place of lack, limitation, struggle, pain, and so on. But as Herb says, if we have perfect faith in a perfect God, something happens in us. It is like putting starch in the collar of a shirt. Something starches up your awareness so that you can stand without being moved out of position. You think with a sense of conviction. There is a lucidity in your thoughts, as it were coming from another level, and you find suddenly you can understand the nature of illusion as something which normally persuades you to accept it as a reality. That is the infinite way. For those who are drawn or new to the infinite way of teaching, it is important to note that this idea is not about solving problems or getting things, but it is coming from the realization of oneness with a perfect God and abiding in this truth, and from there allowing infinite intelligence to reveal itself, and this happens naturally. Now, I want to share an experience to illustrate the importance of not trying to figure things out or wondering how things will work out. Because if we are not watchful, we can miss the mark and go astray. Some of us might already be practicing these principles, but for me, coming across the works of Herb Fitch now allows me to have a better perspective, an awareness and clarity of this truth. And I now integrate this infinite way of life on a conscious and deliberate way without doubt or fear. Though sometimes I wish I had come across this work much earlier. Anyway, let me get to my story. Just over a decade and a half ago, I moved to Canada. And one of the reasons for my moving to Canada was financial. I had a goal of making six-figure income. The goal was to achieve this in the marketing field because that was what I was doing before relocating to Canada. And I can say I was very successful in this area. For clarity purpose, I would like to indicate that this success was only achieved through applying my personal development studies to everything I do. I shared this story in the video titled on personal development, my story, my journey. Without getting too much into details, let me explain how this experience relates to this Herb Fitch talk. When I made the intention of that goal, I had no doubt in my mind. And when we abide in this awareness, infinite intelligence goes forth and orchestrates things for us. I believe just 2 weeks after my arrival in Canada, I met someone I knew at the mall. He was just standing in front of the mall. I had not seen him for close to 5 years or so. We had studied an IT course together, He had moved to Canada 3 years prior. When I told him I had just relocated to Canada, he right away mentioned that I should switch to IT and not bother with marketing. He gave me the address of an organization that will train and put me on projects after my training. I took the information, but at the back of my mind, I had no intention of pursuing that route. I thought marketing would be the way, especially based on my prior success, and I felt I would be able to replicate this in Canada. Oh boy, was I wrong. For the next probably couple of years, I did get jobs immediately in marketing, but it was a struggle. Marketing in Canada is quite different. And my natural nature of shyness and introversion got in the way. You can check the video, Social Anxiety is Not the End, my Neville Goddard story, where I talked about this. Later, the high that I am scared me, and I remember the encounter with my friend at the mall. And then I called the organization, they gave me, and like they say, the rest is now history. I have since achieved that financial goal. The takeaway of this story is to understand that when we abide in truth, that is, have perfect faith in a perfect God, this form called Ade will be moved to do the right and reasonable thing. It might not be the way we thought it would go, and that is why it is important not to get in the way and be fixated that it must be a certain way. I wasted probably a couple of years when I could have entered the field. Infinite Intelligence had prepared a few weeks after arriving in Canada. There was no way in a million years I could have orchestrated the way Infinite Intelligence positioned that friend at the right place and at the right time. That said, even though I achieved my goal, I soon realized that I missed the mark. In retrospect, that goal was way below what I could have achieved. And that is what I came to realize. There is nothing like reaching a goal, but deep down in you, you knew you missed the mark. But you cannot place your hand on where you went wrong. And that was where I found myself a few years ago and began an earnest search to understand why I missed the mark. Along the way, this led me to overcoming my shyness, introversion, and also coming across the works of Herb Fitch and other great minds. And this also led me to sharing on social media platforms. I hope to share a detailed story of this journey at some point. The only suggestion I will add for those who want to go the infinite way is to develop trust and self-confidence, not head knowledge self-confidence, but the inner confidence of understanding and awareness that where you stands the undimensional and spaceless Christ, and view your world from that center. If this is your first encounter with the infinite way, I will say congratulations, for you have on your lap the principles that can unlock the hidden treasures of life without struggle. Only stand firm and put the principles to test through practice in any area such as health, time and money freedom, relationship, and so on, and watch as the form that you are and the world is moved in perfect orchestration by infinite intelligence. And as always, do not hesitate to reach out to me if you want to chat. Enjoy, and thanks for watching. Bye.